What's going on, everyone? This is Corey with Xbox Tavern with another review. This week I'm taking a look at Yars Rising. If that sounds familiar, you may behold, because this is a spiritual successor to Yars Revenge of Atari 2600 fame. But fear not, this is not the same style of game that was. Yars Rising is a Metroidvania at its core, and it has some callbacks to those Atari 2600 days. You will be playing the role of Emmy, and you will be trying to save the world, as you tend to do in video games. And you're going to do this by exploring and adventuring and finding paths and access ways that you cannot access at that time. But in typical Metroidvania fashion, you will get upgrades that will help you traverse and fight enemies in order to eventually go back to those places. Now, this is your pretty typical Metroidvania with your platforming, with your enemies that are on the screens. Sometimes you will have to be stealthy and hide from enemies because you can't defeat every enemy. And other times it's just run and gun and shoot those enemies in order to be able to get past them to your next area. Now, scattered all throughout the map, as you come to different places, you will find different terminals that you can hack. This is where the Atari 2600 days come into play. These hacking minigames kind of give you, as I understand it, the kind of gameplay from Yars Revenge. So you're going to be taking this kind of Space Invader-y type screen, and you're going to have to do different things. Sometimes you just need to defeat the enemies. Sometimes you need to destroy all the blocks without getting hit. Things like that. Upon successful hacking of the minigame, you will either open up a door to a new area or get a biohack. The biohacks are other upgrades that you can control about your character that you're playing. In your backpack of sorts, you have this board, and whatever you can fit on that board, the biohacks that is what your character can do. So they are kind of like Tetris-like pieces, and you can rotate them. So as optimally as you can fit them, you can pick and choose once you have enough to make the character more optimized for your play style. So let's say that you have, a lot of biohacks and you get the choice to pick which ones you want. If you are struggling in combat and you feel like you don't have enough health, there are health upgrade biohacks to give you more health. If that has not been an issue for you and the mini games are kind of more difficult, you can add biohacks if you unlock them that will make those mini games easier. Things like that. So you can really customize where you want to be buffed or not. Now, personally, I will bring it down to a skill issue, but some of those mini games are really easy. Some of them are kind of difficult. One of the options you can do, because they have realized that these could be not as appeasable to modern gamers, you can actually turn on invincibility mode. For me, I only turned that on. I only had the option of turning it on after I couldn't pass a mini game for at least 5 goes. After that, I could turn on invincibility mode if I wanted to, and that would help me get through these hacks and continue on with the game. So props for that, because that is not for everybody, and you're not really playing the game to play those, or at least I can see an audience that's like that. So being able to get past those easily is a good thing. Now, one thing I don't like is if you do fail those biohacks, you lose health for whatever reason. I don't think that you should. At some points you could die if you don't have enough health, and you'll be taken back to your save point. That said, there are lots of save points around the map. You should save at every one of them, or at least I did. You don't lose anything if you die. You still kind of keep your map progress, your biohacks that you unlocked since your last save point. You keep all of that. The only thing it does is it takes you back that far in the map, wherever that was. Now, the part that I don't like about this is usually, like in a lot of games, there's a save point before a boss, and if you don't beat the boss, you're put back at the save point, and sometimes there's a small trek to the boss. It's not always right next door, and then you have to watch the intro animation to the boss each time, and it just takes up so much time. I should just be taken right back into that boss battle. So there is a little pacing issue when it comes to dying and reloading at bosses. Also, along the same lines, typically in Metroidvania games that I've played, you can traverse several screens at a time before you kind of get into a loading screen. That loading screen happens fairly often in this game, I feel like, more often than normal. So you're going to be seeing a loading screen, and I was playing on the Series X. You're going to be seeing that quite often, just traversing the map, trying to get through as quickly as you possibly can. So it kind of hampers the experience a little bit when you're trying to get through places quickly. And now, along with traversing the map and trying to get through as quickly as possible, I will say that the upgrades that you get, they're given to you in a steady flow. So it feels like you are always progressing in this game. You don't really peak off, if that makes sense. You are constantly upwards path of increasing your abilities in this game all the way up to the very end. Now, for the parts of the game that aren't the gameplay, we have voice acting. The voice acting is really good in this game, and it appears very often. So props for voice acting. I always like to see that. The look of this game is what drew me in initially. I think it looks great. I do wish the platforming was better. It feels a little slow. The combat is definitely easy. The stealth sections feel kind of added on just for the fact that why am I doing stealth? It happens so infrequently that it almost seems like it's just a point to make it a little bit more difficult or a little bit more slow paced to get through these sections. So I don't think it added much. And sometimes the boss battles just felt like bullet sponges where you would shoot as much as you can, dodge, shoot as much as you can, and go on and so forth. There wasn't a ton of difficulty with that. Overall, I really enjoyed at the beginning playing this game. Towards the end, I never hated it, but it was never calling me back. So it didn't do anything extraordinarily outstanding, you know. It was pretty run of the mill. I will say at near the very end of the game, something happened. It wasn't glitchy, nothing technical. I think it was a skill issue, but it definitely feels like the computer was cheating, and it was extremely frustrating to get to this part. Trying to be vague to leave out spoilers, but there was a part in the game where, again, the computer was doing such a fantastic job that it was making it super difficult for me, even though it felt like I was doing a good job. And I was not able to get past this part, at least as of now. And it kind of soured me. And it was at the very end of my playthrough, so I really don't like that. Again, I'm willing to put it as a skill issue, but it was not fun to get through. So that said, this is kind of a middle of the pack Metroidvania. I think there's something here. It just feels kind of dumbed down. I would like to see this as a sequel come back to this and improved on it in especially the platforming and traversal. And let's ramp up the combat a little bit. So yeah, if you aren't on xboxtavern.com already, be sure to go there. I'll have the final score for this game. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one.